You have been calling for him to be fired. Do these two corporations get any credit for suspending him for 2 weeks?
No.
I think it's a baby step in the right direction, but it's clearly not far enough. I think to say that his statements were racist, as they've said, then that means they should not allow him to come back. We hope to meet with all of them and make that case. Two immediate things is we want to meet with those at CBS and NBC to clearly lay out why he should not be returned
Gus in charge of this meeting with CBS.
We want to go to Rutgers University to really stand with these young ladies that have been so disparaged in this.
So yeah, of course, get behind them with the cameras rolling, and Reverend Al's going to be... This guy will get behind anything as long as those TV cameras are rolling.
Well, it's black and there's cameras.
Right.
And he should be fired based on what? The apology in this case should be good enough. Should be good enough.
This is just opportunistic guys like Sharpton grabbing for whatever they can. And again, that's what he does because he's a contributor of nothing.
Yeah.
It's the problem is not him. It is the people who allow him to do it, which is these corporate faggots and these cowards who are afraid of 50 people in Chicago.
When people don't apologize, they're like, see, look, no remorse. He's not showing remorse. And then when they do apologize, it's not good enough. He's not sincere. There's no winning with you people. Just like Imus said.
I beg this company that we work for to hang in there.
Yeah.
Do not fold. For once, do not fold.
Don't worry so much.
Whoopi Goldberg, everyone.
Oh, good.
Whoopi.
Yeah, baby.
Hi, Whoopi.
Hi, Whoopi.
What's your take on your show this morning on this whole thing?
Well, you know what? As I said yesterday, he didn't do anything illegal, but we can't be surprised that people are calling for his resignation. They did it to Trent Lott. They did it to Jimmy the Greek. There were 4 or 5 other people, and I think at some point, people just got to the point where they said it was enough. It's not the first time that Imus has made some remarks like this.
Exactly, because he's based really and has based his whole career on comedy. And you being a comic should know that includes offending people.
Well, this is my take on it. I didn't know he was a comic, and that's the God's honest truth. I know him only as a DJ from when I was a little kid, so I don't know him as a comic.
Well, he's not as funny as we are, but he's in the comedy genre.
It's one of those things that if you're going to make comments like that, you have to know somebody's going to get pissed off, and that's okay.
But Whoopi, as a stand-up, it's like we have this thing where we know we're going to... I'm not talking about being hateful, but people being offended should not cost you your job. I mean, you did your first HBO special. There was a great thing you did about going to the Anne Frank house, and even though your tone was different than Imus's, that could have offended people that you were somehow using the Holocaust. I mean, there's any way to twist something a comedian says, and you can't lose your job for it, especially when he's laughing when he says it, and we know the tone of what he meant.
Well, here's the thing. When I did the Anne Frank piece, it was a theater piece, and everybody knew they were in seeing theater. When you're listening to Don Imus, and he, goes ahead and calls some black girls athletes who had just worked their behinds off and calls them nappy-headed hoes, you got to stop.
I completely disagree. Completely. The tone was he was making a joke. And his show is based on comedy. There was no hate behind what Mr. Imus said.
That is your take on it? I don't know what his take on it was. He says he was making it.
You're looking at it, I'm sorry to interrupt you, you're looking at it like, well, these are girls who worked really hard. Whenever you take something that we make fun of, and you look at it like seriously for what it is, well, then it's going to be tough to make fun of it. I mean, people make fun of the war.
Let me ask you this. Why didn't he make fun of the Tennessee girls, too?
I'm sure. Well, I think that was what Bernard's point about the wannabes and the jigaboos, where what the Spike Lee thing was.
He didn't call them, little white trash jumpers or something.
I'm sure he would have.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to make the joke, then you gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta really be careful.
So he's got to make sure he jokes about every single person equally. Are you kidding me?
I didn't hear you, baby.
He just went after that visual the other day.
Okay,
so he's supposed to make fun of, if I'm going to make fun of the Rutgers women's basketball team, now I better make fun of the Tennessee women's basketball team? That's not how comedy works.
Maybe the next day he would have.
I'm sorry, I heard you talking. I didn't hear a thing you said.
He was basically...
Slow down so I understand what he's saying to me.
Well, but he was saying that that Imus made fun of the one team doesn't mean he has to make fun of the other team. That was just where the joke went.
Well, the joke fell flat.
Okay, it happens, but look at what happened with you and Ted Danson.
I'm sorry, listen, this is not the first time Imus has stepped in it with race. Now, let's be honest. He talked about a PBS reporter, Gwen Eiffel, as the cleaning. He said, it's nice to see the cleaning lady covering the Washington beat, or whatever that phrase is. He also went after the interracial couple. What is their names? I don't have it in front of me. They just put out a book.
But that's okay, so it's a little tasteless.
Wait a minute. Now, I listened really patiently.
All right.
So I think people are at the point, particularly people of color, and I think a lot of women are offended because this is, it's hard enough being a female athlete. For him to have just sort of stepped in, I think people are saying, you know what, you got to deal with this. And as I said yesterday, what he said was not illegal. What he said was not, I think, finable. But it was wrong. It was morally wrong.
All right, so you say it's wrong. Should he be fired for that?
Do I think he should be fired? He should be fired as much as Trent Lott was fired, as much as Jimmy the Greek was fired.
Well,
these are the consequences. Listen, Rush Limbaugh got
Jimmy the Greek wasn't a comedian when he said what he said.
The bottom line is,
I can't hear you.
When you look at something like Sheryl Underwood, look at the type of material she does and the things she goes after. Why is it?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Sheryl Underwood, she's a black female comic. And she goes after race pretty hard. She drops N-bombs.
Does she have a radio show?
Doesn't matter. We're talking about the right...
Excuse me.
No, I'm answering.
I don't know who.
Why should radio show hosts that do a comedy show be held to higher standards?
Okay.
As like network news. Are you crazy?
Listen,
we should be able to say whatever the hell we want when we do our program.
Excuse me. God bless you. Now, I'm willing to listen to you, but you know what? If you're going to talk over me, I don't know who Cheryl Norton is, so I can't comment on what she does.
No, Sheryl Underwood, not Cheryl Norton. Sheryl Underwood.
Underwood. You're Norton.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Jeez.
Hey, what about Ted Danson?
So I don't want to comment on her because I don't know what
I'm
she
having
does.
a conversation with
Whoopi, what about the Ted Danson incident? You guys caught... You were making a racial point. No. But I'm saying...
Hang up.
See?
Because you said the Ted Danson thing.
Why would she hang up on that?
Oh, another pussy.
Why would she hang up on that?
Why would she hang up at the Ted Danson thing?
Another knockout punch for the boys!
But why would she hang up on that? That was a very legitimate question.
That is an absolute valid point.
It's like,
how come it was okay when Ted Danson got in blackface and she came to his defense, and that was considered very offensive, very racist, and she came to his defense on that, but she will say that Imus should be fired for doing what he did, which was a bad joke, and
I wasn't even attacking her with that.
No.
My point was, how can you defend one aspect of racial parody, but not another aspect of it? Like, when you're involved with it because you're black, it's okay.
Hang up. You hear it? Hang up, Ted Danson, hang up.
Why?
Repeat after me. Down goes Whoopi! Down goes Whoopi!
Wow.
People...
And we were just going to discuss it.
That was not even an attack. That was a real question.
No, it was honestly... I just wanted to have a dialogue with the woman. That's all.
What's the Ted Danson thing offended a lot of people. You've been on the other end of this, and you know from your point of view how ridiculous it was that people reacted that way. So why is that acceptable and understandable, and yet Imus's racial stuff is not? That's phony.
Wow.
Why would she hang up?
She panicked.
I didn't expect that.
Hang up. Because we were simulcasted there. She doesn't want to go
They're
down
calling
that
from
road.
inside the building.
Hang up.
Oh, wait a minute. We were on their show, too?
Yeah,
I would gather.
Why would they hang up on that?
Because little pussy boy has to agree with everything Whoopi says.
But I don't think...
I heard him in the background helping her along with her facts.
Chubby Cubby.
Is that his name? No, I swear to God. Is it Cubby?
Cubby, yeah. Why would they hang up on
Little Cubby.
Oh, bravo. Still undefeated.
All right, so far, Dice, Man Queer, and Whoopi have hung up on us when confronted with anything.
Only in the last 2 weeks, by the way.
God.
By the way,
what is wrong with her?
He has a radio show is not legitimate because we're talking about the right to parody race and do things like that without the consequences of losing your job.
Yeah.
Don't throw out, he's got a show, but I did it here. We're not talking about FCC violation.
How can a comedian that has been known over the years for doing very irreverent, very racially based comedy like her, how could she call for the firing of somebody for doing that?
And that's stupid. And that Anne Frank question was. Here's my point with that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, why are you, as an artist, allowed to use race or horrible things in your art, and yet he's not. As much as you don't like it, as much as you think it's unpleasant, as an artist,
That's why.
you have that right.
Because she thinks it's unpleasant.
And so does he. A lot of Jews might think, I don't care how you're using it, the Holocaust is not appropriate on a comedy special.
For any kind of joking, right.
By the way, very good observation from Wilkes-Barre. Chris K. Through the whole interview, Whoopi's, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, right? So
she always said that to you, like your mic might have been feeding to her. I don't get that.
Well, Chris K. writes, of course she heard you guys that time.
Yeah, she heard that Ted Danson line.
But she couldn't hear every other line?
That if someone gets her the audio, I would love
surprising.
I got to hear that again.
Whoopi, why would you
hang up.
Hang up.
You know,
Ted Danson, hang up.
You've been on the end of this firestorm when it shouldn't have happened, and you know how stupid it is.
Whoopi, a little message to Whoopi. You're out of your league. Go back to doing cute little things for women on your show. Play it safe. You can't hang with the big boys.
But she probably said,
question by Jimmy.
If they go for the Ted Danson thing, hang up.
But it was a real question. And
it was a real question.
Point. Like, it wasn't to sandbag her. It was like, that's pretty common knowledge. How can you say that when you stood in the firing squad and you knew how stupid it was?
When a white man is wearing blackface.
You knew what he meant.
Yeah, and telling offensive jokes. And you came to his defense.
On the surface, that looks racist and horrible, but in context, you knew what it was.
Yeah.
And you heard Imus laughing and doing it's against women. Everybody wants to be victimized. Whoopi, what a phony. That really bugs me.
Hang up.
Why would you
I gotta
hang
hear
up?
that again.
Prank caller.
So then Sharpton goes on. This is Paul is on. Getting back to that, because Whoopi had a chicken out. She just played into our hands. What can I tell you?
And I understand she was trying to make a point. She wanted to be talked over. Okay, fine. That was a very legitimate question. That's going to annoy me all day.